When I look at Thomas, it's not like anything to do with Thomas. I maybe just don't want children with Thomas. You'll be someone special.
Thank you.
All right.
Fucking
Since the start of season 8, when I saw Rozz and Thomas, I said I really liked them and I was rooting for them and I wish they could put in the work. And with every week, I've been excited to see them grow. And so to get to this point, my heart is broken, not only for Rozz, but mainly for Thomas, because this is something that came out of left field. And the fact that I remember in my reviews, I sort of brought it up that she was taken aback by the babies and babies comment. And so for her to say that's the reason why she's decided to call quits because she can't see herself having children with Thomas doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. It's your girl Valerie. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 8, Episode 30. Rewind when it comes to George and Peggy, because it's the same old thing. Oh, I don't want my feelings, to cloud the judgment of my family because my family is saying no, and I am trying, last time they told me this, I said I went against their wish. And it's the same old. Peggy doesn't like George. Peggy doesn't want to be with George. Homestays convinced her that he is coming from a wealthy background. He says he was a professional rugby player, so he must have made money with that, and then he left that to start his own sports medicine job, and with that he's got gaming, so he's got money. I think that aspect she likes. She doesn't like how he gets money from his second job, but she likes the money. That's the impression that I'm getting from how she behaved once she saw where he left. So for me, I don't get that argument, and I'm not here for it. Nathaniel is somewhere clapping and punching the ceiling because he said it about Ella. He called her out. He said he was covering for her. He never owned up until he left the show that Ella used to have these drunken episodes where she'd be shouting and she'd be wanting sex. So I think this is what he meant when he said, I protected this girl. I protected this girl. This is what he meant. Well, JJ is not protecting Ella because he has a conversation with Arthur to sort of discuss the fact that Ella got drunk and was calling him names, and Bianca and Nathaniel are somewhere punching the sky. They are laughing. They are calling karma because he went for the looks. He didn't go for the substance. And now he's stuck with someone who is not substantially what he wanted. Physically, they look the part, but what's on the inside is what's the problem. And he missed out on a great thing with Bianca, but he was too superficial. Normally, when a spouse always goes to speak to another spouse and sort of seek advice, I always question why they sent that person to that person. And personally, Paul could not have been a better person than Paul to send Thomas to speak to, because Paul is very empathetic, he's very compassionate, he's very understanding, and he's very caring. And so for Thomas to go to him and Paul to give him the freedom to sort of express himself without judgment, without giving opinions, is amazing. And I love how he lifted him up. And then once they finished their conversation, he gave him a hug because he could tell that Thomas is struggling. He's really struggling to understand what's happened with Rozz. Rozz is saying, oh, I have to be honest with myself because my feelings, something happened with Rozz. When she got home, something happened. I feel it's either the comment about having children or something else happened with her when she met up with her sister that made her think, no, Thomas is not it for me. I would rather, break things off. And it's a pity. She even describes him as a very caring and loyal and understanding person. So I don't know what else she needs in a partner. I don't get it. The fact that she was saying, oh, it's my family, it's work, and then it's Thomas. He will go up the ladder at some point. He's not just going to jump and supersede everybody else in 8 weeks. That's not realistic, and that's not honest, and I don't know why she doesn't get that. So then it's time for the commitment ceremony. And am I the only one who noticed this? The producers are messy. They made everybody else walk in and sit down, and then they brought in Thomas. I didn't like that. They should have let Thomas come in with Paul and Tasha, because it was cute to see that when he sat down, Paul sort of checked on him to make sure that he was okay. And he still has hope that Rozz will change her mind, but I don't think that's going to happen. Anyway, Paul calls up for George and Peggy. I'm going to say this. I'm going to repeat it. She wants the money, money, money. I don't know a song like that. It just came to my mind. But personally, I don't think Peggy is going against her family because she loves George. She's going against her family because she loves the money. She's realized that this guy comes from wealth. She's realized that he can provide her the lifestyle that she wants. And so she is going to continue to milk this train until it runs dry. As far as I'm concerned, for her to say, my mom told me leave, but I am going to stay because this is what's in my best interest. After she said in a confessional that I have gone against my mother most times and it hasn't worked, so I don't want to go against her. Which one is it? Which one is it? Homestays showed Peggy the life she could have with George. Homestays is what changed Peggy's opinion about George. Peggy was prepared to string George along until they got to the finale, but when she went to Homestays and realized that this guy actually lives a comfortable life, this guy actually has a job that pays him a lot of money, this guy actually has a second job that pays him a lot of money, this guy comes from wealth, she's realized that, oh, I'm going to, hook my trailer to this wagon and we're not stopping, because there is nothing else she said that convinces me otherwise outside of the dollar signs. That's all I can see in her. That's all I can see in her eyes. I'm sorry. There's nothing else that she said that convinces me otherwise. For the experts to say, oh, the two of you have shown that if you put in the work, what work have they put in apart from Peggy criticizing George's jobs? What work has Peggy put in apart from making herself the victim? Please, somebody needs to sit down and keep quiet. Next up is my faves. It seems I've only got one favorite couple left, Paul and Tasha. Well, they do talk. I love the fact that Paul is honest, but he's always very optimistic. This is something I've noticed about Paul, and this is something that Thomas was highlighting during his conversation with Paul, because he says, yes, Tasha is very fiery and he wouldn't change her for anything. He did talk about the incident with his friends and the fact that his friends were worried. I don't think this is the first time he brought it up, because Tasha on her own, without prompting, sort of mentioned that, the way I was brought up, the way we speak, the fact that I'm sarcastic doesn't always sort of compute with most people, and they might be offended by that. And so it's good that they are recognizing their weaknesses and they are sort of working on them, and they're giving each other constructive feedback. There is no way Paul would be continuing with this relationship if his mother didn't approve. So I'm going to repeat, Tasha's getting a bad edit. That's the impression that I'm getting, because there's no way Paul's mother would just sit there with how close he is with his family, and they would watch him go, down a road that they didn't feel was right for him and not say anything. So the fact that he's seeing a future with Tasha tells me that there's more to Tasha than we're being shown. The fact that his mother trusted Tasha enough to give her a key to her home tells me, or made a key for Tasha, tells me there's more to Tasha than the show is showing us. So I really wish they had given us an honest view of Tasha, but anyway, they haven't given us honest views of most people. And so it's interesting that they both choose to stay together. I feel like they're in love. I know Tasha posted a clip with Terrence on her Instagram the other day. I was strolling through their streets on my ways on Instagram, and I saw her sort of with Terrence, and Terrence was saying, oh, I don't know how Paul copes with this, and then she sort of quickly cut off the clip. I don't know. I think they're still together. I think they are happy, and it's sad that the show didn't show us the good side of Tasha and Paul. Even though the family visit, we didn't get to see the family visit for Tasha and Paul. I think things were going too smoothly and the producers just decided to hide that bit, but hey, it is what it is. Next up is Laura and Arthur. I'm going to admit, at first I was skeptical about Laura and Arthur because I felt like Laura was just doing this just to be on TV. But Arthur has changed Laura without trying, with just being himself. He has shown Laura the fun side of life. He's shown Laura the sort of not so focused in and so regimented into a plan sort of side of life that she likes. And I think she's now having to sort of, I hope if nothing else, she's having to debate whether her friends have her best interests at heart, because Arthur has shown that he's always going to be his truest self. He could have easily played the ideal husband and sort of fallen into place so that she would say yes and then he could enjoy her money, but he's always been true to himself. Whether he's put his foot in his mouth or whether, it's just coming out with some of the wildest things, or he's behaved in some ways that you'd want to say to him, stop, he's always been himself. So I think, if nothing else, Arthur has been amazing for Laura. I think he is the type of husband that she needs, someone who will stand up to bullies when they try to bully him, someone who's not easily intimidated as much as he tries to fit in. So I hope, if nothing else, yes, they've said stay together. I hope, if nothing else, they leave the experiment, they go out into the real world, and Laura actually tries to sort of isolate herself from her friends and see if this relationship can work. And she might actually be surprised that Arthur might be the partner she's been looking for. But hey, I digress. So next up is Adrian and Matt. And I think the homestays were amazing for Adrian and Matt. For one reason, I think it took her away from Erica and all the other girls. And so she just had Matt to focus on Matt. And this helped their relationship. I think had she been around the other couples, hearing from other people, giving their insight into her relationship, this relationship would not have worked. By now, they'd be voting leave. So the fact that they went home, they seem really to have enjoyed themselves. I think the outing plus the time with his mum really cemented it for Matt, because Adrian wasn't sure about this man, and seeing him in his own environment, seeing how much his mother approves of her and really is wanting for their relationship to work and is willing to make sacrifices. I feel this is why she said yes, and I feel this is why she's now happy, because she's realized that there's more to this man than what she actually thought. So I could not be more excited for them. I root for love, so I'm happy for them that they've both decided to stay. I'm going to say this, Nathaniel's a very lucky man, and he should be thanking his lucky stars that he was able to get out and he was able to sort of divorce from Ella and sort of move on with his life, because sadly for Nathaniel, he is now reaping what he sowed, in the sense that karma has come home to roost. He left an amazing girl just because he didn't like what she looked like physically, for someone who is calling him names, gets drunk and behaves in ways that he doesn't like, and now he's stuck in this situation. And he was honest, because he said it doesn't matter who Ella was with in the coupling, she was always going to have these problems, because I don't think it has anything to do with who she's in a couple with, but it's more to do with her as a person and the fact that she's not happy with herself. That is the truth. No truer words have been spoken than that. I don't think Ella is comfortable in her own skin, regardless of everything she's done. I feel like she needs to do a lot of work, and it's a pity the show is keeping her on just for the sake of keeping her on. They should have allowed JJ and Ella to go home. I don't think they should have said stay, because whatever work she needs someone to help her with her mental well-being. This is a marriage show. This is not a sort of mental health help group. So I don't know why you were saying, in the real world I would have moved on, but I know you said you're willing to change and you're willing to do the work. But in the same breath, you're saying this is a reoccurring problem. Make it make sense. Is it a reoccurring problem, or is it a one-off? If it's a reoccurring problem, what makes you think that the experts are suddenly going to stop her or going to suddenly help her change her ways that she's been going down for years and years and years? Make it make sense. Erica actually surprised me, because they're up next. She actually surprised me in the sense that she is exercising a level of patience and understanding that I didn't see at the start of the show, when she was being sarcastic and making the comments she was making with her friends about, her prospective husband or her future husband. And so the idea that they're able to sit down, have a conversation and reach an understanding of what they want in a relationship is amazing. I think it's amazing. And I'm happy for them that they have had this opportunity to speak to the experts. I think this was good for them, because they were able to pinpoint the fact that, they're always point scoring, in the sense that when Erica said Jordan did this wrong, Jordan then turns around and says, but you did this wrong. Instead of asking her, give me a moment, let me reflect, and then he reflects and he thinks, yes, I did that. Come up with a response. Oh, I'm sorry I upset you. I did that because I felt like this, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And not to sort of be constantly critiquing each other, but giving each other constructive feedback and understanding where the other person is coming from. Jordan was right to say, you know, with his OCD, he's used to a routine, and when his routine is thrown off, struggles a lot. And so it's a pity he didn't listen to what his wife was saying, and it took the expert sort of calling a timeout for him to sort of listen to what they were saying and listen to what his wife was saying. Do I think they could work? Maybe. But Jordan would need a lot of help. You'd need to see someone in the mental health profession to sort of address his concerns or address his OCD and come up with ways of how he can cope with that. That way he doesn't just make outbursts or make comments or give opinions where they're not needed. And I think if he can work on that, Erica has shown that she's got the potential to be understanding and sort of able to compromise. So they could work. They could work. I think as a team, they work better. But when they're in a group, I think that's when the struggle comes in. So I don't know how that will play out. But they both said yes, which was good for them. Last up is Rozz and Thomas. And this is heartbreaking for me because I've always supported them, you know, since day one when they were very awkward and they were struggling to sort of take a picture. And I kept having hope and seeing them work through their problems, seeing them put in the work and seem to grow as a couple. It makes me question, was I naive? Did I miss something? Was Rozz playing Thomas? Did Rozz only stay in the experiment just because she wanted to be on TV? Or did she really care about him? And if she cared about him as much, what then would suddenly change it? Because they must have talked about having children. It's not something that came up just the once. I know when Thomas said, oh, we're going to have babies and babies and babies, I did say it in my reviews that I think that was when things started falling apart. And for Rozz to open up and say, yes, I realized, you know, when his mom was talking about children, that I didn't want to have children with Thomas. And it's like, if you're having sex with him, what do you think is happening then? There is always a risk that you're going to have babies with him. And so why did you accommodate that if you're not willing to have babies with him? I don't get that, because we all know that babies come from having sex. So why was she having sex with him? Was she just doing it for the fun of it, but not because she really saw an emotional attachment which could lead to them starting a family? I don't get that. And for her to say when she held her niece, she realized she wanted children, but she didn't want children with Thomas. What is wrong with Thomas is still my question. What is it about Thomas that she didn't like, that she felt he wouldn't make a good father? He came across as loving, caring, compassionate, empathetic, and willing to work and put in the work. So what is it that turned her off? And for her to say, oh, I don't want to say it, it's going to sound bad. Well, it sounds bad already in your mind. So bring it out. Let us hear it. And I don't get the reason why. She didn't give a reason why as to she didn't want a child with Thomas. She just said she didn't see herself having children with Thomas. There must be a reason why. And for her to then say, oh, he's a very good guy and I hope he finds his person, I don't want to waste his time. Well, you've wasted his time in the last 8 weeks. It's been good that he's learned about himself and he's grown and he's been able to bring down his walls. And so for him, leaving the experiment, as he said, he's never going to put his walls down, because he's realized that by keeping his walls down, he might actually get to have an amazing opportunity and an amazing experience. So I'm sad that they're leaving, and I'm sad that they're leaving because of whatever Rozz has said. But if nothing else, I hope this is a moment for personal growth for Thomas. I've been on his Instagram. He seems to be doing fine. He's put on weight. He looks amazing. He was saying, you know, at times you don't need to go far to look for what you need. It could be right in your back garden. I think it could be someone he knew prior to entering the experiment is someone he's dating now, or that's the impression that I got. If he's not dating, his inbox is going to be full because people are going to be chasing him. And so I really wish him the best. And I wish Rozz the best in herself. It's a pity she's lost out on an amazing guy. And I hope she doesn't get to regret this decision to say no to him. But I would rather he go home, find this person, than he continue to have his time wasted, as she said. And to see everyone stand up and hug them, and how everyone was emotional throughout the conversation, shows that everyone was emotionally invested in them, and everyone was rooting for them and really wanted them to succeed. And now that they haven't, it's heartbreaking, not only for the couple involved, but also for everybody else in the experiment who got to watch them. And I love that Charlene actually said to Thomas, you will find someone special. Don't worry, you'll be fine. And she really held on to him, you know, like she's talking to her child or her brother, and she's really praying and wishing and speaking into existence the best for them. That was amazing. And to see everyone sort of crying with them and sort of trying to console them. I think Thomas and Paul have a great experience because of the way he behaved when he got to Thomas. With everyone else, he had his head held up high. And then when he got to Paul, you could see him break. He bowed his head and he was really broken. And I said this before and I'll say this. Paul was the best person for him to speak to, because Paul comes across as, although he's one of the youngest people, he comes across as very mature, emotionally mature. So that was great. I don't know. It's coming to the end, so we'll see what happens, who stays together and who says no on decision day. It seems like Peggy is about to bring back the fact that she went against her parents, but hey, it is what it is. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 29. Bye, guys.